Hi friends, my name is Elizabeth Coyle, and in this vlog I will be writing my novel the way that C.S. Lewis wrote his novels. I'm working on a young adult fantasy. It's a magic mystery. So this is C.S. Lewis's ideal day. It seems like a very peaceful, cozy day, but he sticks to a very tight schedule. I still feel like this is going to be an exercise in comfort and coziness. My last writing experiment I wrote like Dan Brown, and that was an exercise in torture and mental fortitude. That thing rattled my vertebrae. So, to begin this very prim and proper day, C.S. Lewis says, I would choose always to breakfast at exactly 8. And be at my desk by 9, there to read or write till 1. If a good cup of tea or coffee could be brought me about 11, so much the better. At 1 precisely, lunch should be on the table. By 2 at the latest, I would be on the road, not except at rare intervals with a friend. Walking and talking are two very great pleasures, but it is a mistake to combine them. The return from the walk and the arrival of tea should be exactly coincident, and not later than 4:15. Tea should be taken in solitude. Eating and reading are two pleasures that combine admirably. Of course, not all books are suitable for mealtime reading. It would be a kind of blasphemy to read poetry at table. What one wants is a gossipy, formless book which can be opened anywhere. At 5, a man should be at work again and at it till 7. Then, at the evening meal and after, comes the time for talk. Or, failing that, for lighter reading, and unless you are making a night of it with your cronies, there is no reason why you should ever be in bed later than 11. C.S. Lewis was a proponent of reading old books. I assume he was talking about books from previous generations, but I want to be surrounded by cozy comfortness and my childhood fantasies today, so I'm going to be reading The Two Princesses of Thamar by Gail Carson Levine. I read this book constantly when I was in middle school. I loved it. I read it over and over again, and I have not read it in years. So, this is the type of book I want to be reading today. It is technically from a different generation because I am an adult and I used to read it as a child, so it counts. I'm counting it. I don't know if this counts as gossipy, but I'll read this while I'm eating, and also if I'm struggling my writing, C.S. Lewis thinks it is perfectly acceptable to swap out writing for reading. So that's what I'll be doing. C.S. Lewis takes what is apparently a 2-hour-long walk by himself every day. That seems like a very long walk for me, so I'm going to be taking a walk, but my walks usually only last about an hour. So, the second half of my outdoor time, I will be in my vegetable garden. It needs a little tending, and I feel like C.S. Lewis would approve. So, my 2-hour-long walk will be a 1-hour-long walk and time spent in the vegetable garden. I'm going to be drinking tea today. I normally drink coffee, but C.S. Lewis is a tea man, so today I am a tea woman. So we have we have 7 tomato plants. One has tragically passed. 5 cucumbers, 3 blueberries, 5 basil, and 2 grapes. The grapes are just for decoration. They are non-edible. They're like champagne grapes or something because they're really tart and they have a really big seed in the middle. One year we tried to make jam out of them, but we ended up making plastic. We poured it into a mason jar and it took on the shape and texture of mason jar. So, the grapes are just for decoration. To grow lemons one year, but we don't talk about that. Blueberries aren't in season anymore, but this year we grew on our 3 blueberry bushes about 30 blueberries, which is a massive success. We're practically blueberry farmers. Last year we grew 3 blueberries, and the birds ate them all. So, we're very happy with our blueberry harvest this year. I don't know if C.S. Lewis had a garden, but I feel like you would have to in order to, sample all of the delights. The best part of any fantasy is when they're supping on beef stew and figs, dates, toffee, soups and stews, and summer pies and sandwiches, and you need a garden to make all those things. Overall, I would say I really liked this day. C.S. Lewis's ideal writing routine is very similar to my ideal writing routine. I made a video about that a while back, because my ideal writing routine is writing, then walking, then writing, then hanging out with my family, then writing again before bed, which is very similar to what he does. He keeps a much stricter schedule than I ever do. And I guess that's kind of a downside. The regimented nature of this day was a little bit stressful for me, and so I felt like I had to do everything exactly primly on the hour, like C.S. Lewis said to, and so like when I was reading and writing, I just kept thinking, okay, pay attention to the clock, pay attention to the clock, and that was not very productive or creative, so that was not great. I would not include that in my ideal writing day. Strangely, I loved drinking tea. I'm very much a coffee drinker. It's been a long, long time since I drank hot tea, but I actually very much enjoyed it. I found it soothing and also delicious. So I might start incorporating a little bit more tea into my day. It'd be kind of fun. This day was also not nearly as productive as the time I experimented writing like Dan Brown, because that was 7 straight hours of just me and my computer in the morning, and it was torture, but it was very productive. In this day, I had the option always of switching back to reading, and I obviously have not finished the book, but I love reading The Two Princes of Bomar. I forgot how much I loved that book. That was my greatest first ideal fantasy when I was a child. And that feel is kind of what I want to capture in the book that I'm reading now, so that was pretty wonderful. I'm definitely going to finish that book. Yeah, I don't know, the strict schedule and the the easy out to switch from writing to reading meant that I didn't get very much done today, which is interesting, but I did feel very creative today with my reading and my walking outside. I took a longer walk than I normally do, and I went to places I don't normally walk to, so that was kind of neat. I always enjoy walking in my garden, so that was nice. But yeah, the very strict rules about the schedule were, that was a no-go for me. Sorry, C.